I will decapitate everyone in the world. No one deserves a head if they do not love wings. I will beat your face with a metal pipe. Inject them into buttocks. Not your buttocks, Keskase, into the buttocks of Ken.
Here's a little tale about a man I knowed. He had a boob on his head and a patch on his coat.
My whole existence is just sad.
Feeling a little out of place, a little confused? Good. That's kind of the point. What you just heard, those were just a few random transmissions from the world we're about to explore. So consider this a quick tour of your new and very, very terrible neighborhood. A place where just stepping at your front door might lead to, well, any of that.
Which, of course, brings up the most important question for any new resident. What in the world are the rules here? Is there actually any logic to all this madness, or is it just random screaming chaos? Well, it turns out there is a logic at play, and it's a very specific and honestly a very chilling one.
And here it is. This is the key that unlocks the whole thing. Abnormal normality. It's this simple, terrifying idea that in this world, the most bizarre, the most horrific, the most surreal things you can imagine are all treated with the same casual energy as, doing your taxes or waiting for the bus. The right response isn't to panic or scream. It's just to cope, to just deal with it.
So the big difference here is that these stories, they just don't follow the rules we expect. Normally you get a nice establishing shot, you get introduced to the characters. Not here. Nope. Instead, you are dropped right into the middle of a conversation, like you just overheard something really weird through an open window. And that ambiguity, that feeling of not knowing what's going on, that's not a mistake. It's the entire point. You've basically just arrived late to a party that has already gone terribly, terribly wrong.
So how are you supposed to navigate this abyss? Well, luckily for us, the world's creators actually left behind a kind of guide, a set of rules for processing the unprocessed horror of daily life in this place.
These are basically the commandments, and they're not just creative principles. Think of them more as survival tips. So instead of running away from discomfort, you lean into it. You learn to see humor, not as a punchline, but as a delivery system for something much, much darker. And most importantly, you have to accept that you'll never have the full context. Because, well, nobody ever does.
All right, let's take an example. On the surface, this is just, it's profoundly juvenile, right? It's like an ad you might overhear on some bizarre public access channel at 3 in the morning. It's absurd. It's silly. It's an ad for a douchemobile. But now, let's apply the rules. The humor isn't the point. It's a solvent. It's designed to lower your defenses, to make you laugh at how stupid it is, so that the underlying weirdness of this totally consumer-driven, casually vulgar world can just kind of seep in without you even noticing.
Okay, or how about this one? The request itself is just body horror of the highest degree. Someone's skin is on the inside. But just listen to the reaction. It's not a scream. It's this polite, really awkward piece of feedback. It's like telling a waiter your soup is a little too cold.
And this is a perfect illustration of that first rule. A normal story would cut away immediately, but here we zoom in. We are forced to sit in that moment of profound, painful awkwardness, where a person has to politely ask for their own anatomy to be put back in the right order. The real horror isn't the situation, it's the mundane reaction to it. So this brings us from the how to the why. Why does this casual approach to horror feel so uniquely disturbing? It's because here, violence isn't personal. It's just paperwork.
This commentary from the creators absolutely nails it. Plug a bullet into her. It's not about rage. It's not about passion. It sounds like a task on a to-do list. That casual, detached language, it strips away all the movie-style horror, but it replaces it with something so much more chilling, the horror of procedure.
And this is the absolute crucial point. In this universe, terrible things don't happen because some villain hates your guts. They happen because you're simply in the way. You're an obstacle, a logistical problem, an irrelevant variable on some spreadsheet somewhere. The universe isn't evil. It's just utterly, terrifyingly indifferent.
And here is that exact principle in action. The concern here isn't about a man's life. It's about the whole aftermath. The paperwork, the cleanup, the sheer inconvenience of it all. And the solution isn't medical aid. It's an incinerator. Problem, meet, neat, tidy, horrifying solution. So ultimately, it all just boils down to this.
summoning a demon, dealing with a corpse, having your skin turned inside out. These aren't cosmic soul-shattering events. They're just another Tuesday. They're workplace problems that just need to be managed before you can clock out for the day.
But this is where it all comes together. Because if any of this feels strangely familiar, well, it should. The final, most unsettling rule of this whole terrible neighborhood is that you're already a resident. This isn't some distant fantasy world. It's a funhouse mirror of our own.
I mean, think about it. We all navigate a world that is fundamentally absurd and, a lot of the time, totally indifferent to us. We get stuck in traffic while we're worrying about a loved one's health. We have to fill out insurance forms after a catastrophe. We are constantly trying to maintain our own internal sense of order while the outside world just operates with the random, impersonal logic of the weather.
So, I'll just leave you with this question. What was the last truly absurd, bizarre, or maybe even terrifying thing that happened in your day that you just had to treat as perfectly normal just to get through it? Welcome to the neighborhood. You've been living here the whole time.